Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'm Kathy Creener from Dragonline, and I'm pleased you're here. Tonight, we're going to look at AI at work from the leader's seat. This is not a session about becoming the fastest AI user in the room. It is not software training, and it is not about learning a perfect prompt. It is about a practical leadership question. If AI is helping teams produce more work, what might the leader need to do differently? We'll use one ordinary workplace example, see what changes when leadership context becomes visible, and finish with one small experiment you can try in your own work. I want to start with a simple question. In the last month, has the volume of work coming across your desk increased, even though the team itself has not become larger? That might be more drafts, more analysis, more options, more apparently finished work, or simply more things moving at once. There is no right answer here. I'm interested in whether this pressure is already visible in your work. I know it is in mine. AI can increase production speed. That can be genuinely useful. But the work arriving more quickly still has to be understood, directed, reviewed, connected to other work, and moved towards a decision. The judgment required has not disappeared. In some environments, the leader is now applying that judgment to a larger volume of material with less time between production and decision. So the pressure is not necessarily a sign that leadership has failed to keep up. The conditions around the leadership work have changed. This response is familiar because sometimes it is true. I'll just check it myself. It's faster than explaining what's wrong. When time is short, checking it yourself or rewriting part of it may feel faster than explaining the problem and sending it back. There will always be moments when a leader appropriately steps in. The difficulty begins when that becomes the standing way the system works. The leader quietly absorbs the extra production by becoming the final editor, reviewer, or rescuer. This is the pattern I want us to notice. The team produces more. The leader reviews more. The extra throughput has not disappeared. It has moved to the point where judgment, coordination, and accountability sit. The leader may then try to work faster in the old way, read faster, check, rewrite more, keep more of the context in their own head. That is not a sustainable answer to AI-enabled throughput. Before I go further, I want to tell you briefly why I'm examining this particular question. My professional background is in project, program, and portfolio environments across corporate and government work. That means I'm used to working with dependencies, constraints, decisions, delivery pressure, and consequences. In 2023 and 2024, I participated in the whole of government co-pilot pilot. That was when I began using AI actively in real workplace delivery, rather than simply watching it from the outside. Since then, I've applied AI across infrastructure and business transformation work, worked directly with cloud and AI specialists, and used it actively in my own consulting business. I'm approaching this as a practitioner. I've been able to watch what happens when AI enters real work, where the work still has dependencies, constraints, decisions, and consequences. That is what led me to look beyond how quickly AI can produce something. It's how it might support the work of the leader. So let's look at the problem a little differently. If the answer is not simply for the leader to produce, read, and check faster, what else becomes possible? We often talk as though there is one ladder of AI competence and everyone needs to climb the same ladder. But the team and the leader may be using AI for different work. A team member may use it to research, analyze, draft, compare, or produce. A leader may use it to clarify direction, prepare for a conversation, make assumptions visible, review against the standard, or express feedback. The leader does not have to imitate the team's production use of AI in order to use AI well. This is the central idea for tonight. Use AI to do the work of the leader, not to take back the work of the team. That does not mean asking AI to make the leadership decision. It means using AI to help organize, express, test, or apply the priorities and judgment the leader already holds, so the team has a better chance of producing useful work. I'd like you to sit with that idea just for a moment. Use AI to do the work of the leader, not to take back the work of the team. AI can know a great deal in general. It does not automatically know what matters most here or what matters most now. It does not know what's happening in your organization, whether other work is moving, what cannot be compromised, or what good looks like in this setting. Those things often sit in the leader's experience and working knowledge. AI can help make them clearer and more usable. It cannot supply them independently. The point is not to write a more impressive prompt. The point is to recognize what the leader needs to bring. Let's make that visible through one ordinary example. Now, before we get into the example, I want to reassure you, this is not a scheduling lesson. We're not going to build a complete rollout plan. We're simply going to compare what the same AI can do before and after the leader makes more of the real work visible. Imagine this request arrives from an executive. Can we bring the new service rollout forward by 6 weeks? I need a recommendation by Friday. The current rollout target is 12 weeks away. The question is whether it can be brought forward by 6 weeks, with a recommendation required by Friday. It sounds straightforward. It is also the sort of request that may arrive without the structure of the underlying work attached to it. So first, I gave Copilot only that minimal request. This is what Copilot produced. The response is reasonable. It does not pretend it can confirm the 6-week acceleration. It names familiar possibilities, add resources, reduce scope, accept more risk, do the work in parallel, assess what remains. But it cannot tell us whether this particular rollout can move because it does not know how the work is structured. This is not a bad response. It is a response to a question that does not yet contain enough of the real work. At this point, what can AI actually tell us? It can tell us what usually matters in an acceleration decision. It cannot yet tell us whether this particular timeline can move, what is on the critical path, or what consequences an acceleration would create. The missing piece is not clever wording. It's the leader's knowledge of the work. Now the leader makes more of the real work visible. The service is expected to be ready in 8 weeks, with a possibility that bringing it back to week 5 if the final approvals can be streamlined. Configuration takes 2 weeks and can run in parallel. Data preparation is ahead and may be ready by week 3. Training is more consequential. Operations training starts in week 5 and runs over 4 weeks. The business area is unavailable for the next 2 weeks. User training is spread across 6 weeks, although there may be an opportunity to accelerate it. Notice the distinction between what is known and what is merely possible. May be capable of acceleration is not the same as can be compressed to 3 weeks. This is the kind of context the leader holds because they can see the work and the system around it. With that additional context, the response changes materially. Copilot now creates a view of the dependencies and concludes that a week 7 or week 8 rollout may be possible. That is much more useful than the first response. It gives the leader something concrete to examine. But look at what happened in the move from possibility to recommendation. Copilot compressed operations training from 4 weeks to approximately 3. It compressed business training from 6 weeks to approximately 3. Neither compressed duration was provided. The extra context allowed the AI to reason more usefully. It also allowed it to make more specific assumptions. This is the distinction that matters. Some conclusions are supported. Service readiness may move. Configuration can run in parallel. Data is unlikely to be the constraint. Training affects the achievable date. Other conclusions were introduced by the AI. The training can be compressed to 3 weeks. The week 7 or 8 date is achievable. Those may eventually prove possible, but at this point, they are planning assumptions, not established facts. A polished and specific answer can feel decision ready before the underlying reasoning is ready. The next question belongs to the leader and the relevant people around the work. Can the training genuinely be compressed? What would have to change? Would the learning still be sufficient? What operational risk would be produced? Who needs to be involved before that assumption becomes a plan? AI helped create a more useful view of the timeline. It did not carry the consequences of compressing the training, and it did not hold the authority to accept those consequences. The leader still has to examine the assumptions, involve the right people, decide what needs to be confirmed, and make or escalate the recommendation. That is AI supporting leadership work. The leadership responsibility has not moved. I want to finish the practical part of tonight with one small experiment. This is deliberately not a complete briefing method. It's simply a way to test the difference we have just seen. Choose one leadership task already on your desk. Before asking AI to help, add 3 things it cannot know by itself. First, the outcome that actually matters. What must this work enable? Second, what cannot be compromised? That may be a standard, an obligation, a relationship, an existing commitment, or a practical boundary. Third, what needs to be visible? That may be assumptions, consequences, dependencies, evidence, or unresolved questions. Then notice what changes in the response. Use only tools and information your organisation permits. Treat the response as working material. Review it using your own judgment before you act on it or give it to somebody else. The purpose is not to produce a perfect answer. It is to notice whether the leader becomes more visible in the interaction. We used clearer direction tonight because it gives us a clean way to see the difference. But the leader's seat is larger than this one example. AI might help a leader prepare for a specialist conversation, examine an obstacle before intervening, compare return to work with existing standards, express feedback and next steps, or notice repeated friction that could improve future work. In each case, the useful question is not only, what can AI produce? It's, what leadership contribution needs to become clearer or more usable here? Applying that reliably across different work requires a broader practice. Tonight's experiment gives you one place to begin. There are 2 legitimate ways to continue from here. For most people, the next step is simply to remain connected. I'll send you a short follow-up that reinforces the experiment. When the right task appears, try it and reply to tell me what changed or what proved difficult. I'll also continue sharing practical examples and questions about AI from the leader's seat. One way to stay across that is to connect with me on LinkedIn. If you're ready to move faster, the first Dragonline AI at Work Masterclass is on Friday, the 4th of September, from 12 until 2, live online. That's Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane time. It's called Using AI to Turn Leadership Judgment into Clearer Direction. The price is $147, including GST. The masterclass provides guided practice, worked examples, and time to apply the capability more fully to real work. The registration link will be provided. There is no need to decide tonight in order to continue receiving value from the work we have begun here. I want to leave you with this thought. AI becomes more useful to experienced leaders when they use it from the leader's seat. Your experience is not what AI makes obsolete. It is part of what makes AI useful. I'd like you to think about the questions or reflections that this webinar has raised for you. When I deliver this webinar live, this is when people are able to bring those questions to the group and discuss them. As you're looking at the replay, please feel free to email them to me or simply message me on LinkedIn and ask them directly. Thank you for joining me tonight or for listening to the replay at home. I really hope this has been useful, and I would love to hear how adding those 3 things that AI does not know or cannot know by itself to one of your questions helped you. Have a lovely evening.